Hey guys, and welcome to this first episode of the TDS repair series. So as promised in the last video, today we're gonna service the pedals, the Crankbrothers Mallet DH pedals. So as I already stated in the last video, there are some O-rings, there are some bearings, there are some caps, and that's what we're gonna swap by new one in this video. So the tools you're gonna need for this job are the following. So you're gonna need an 8mm Allen key, a 6mm Allen key, a pick set, a Torx wrench, a hammer with a rubber end cap. You're gonna need a T25 Torx wrench. You're gonna need a rebuild kit from Crankbrothers to your specific pedal. You're gonna need a sort of grease. I use the Sram butter grease because it's suitable for anything. You're also gonna need some sort of solution to clean, and I use the isopropyl alcohol. It's also quite suitable for anything, but be careful not to put some on the bearings, because if not, well, your bearings are dead. You won't be able to use them after that. So to clean everything, I use these shop towels. And there's also an optional pins kit that you can buy. It's just to replace your old pins, to put some new ones to have a little bit more grip, because over time they tend to wear out, to get inside of your pedals. So if you change them, you're gonna have more grip. The non-drive side, or the anti-drive side as I call it, is anti-clockwise. Turn it anti-clockwise and it's out. Then the drive side is clockwise. It's really weird, but that's how it's done. And that's on any mountain bike, even on the cheapest bikes. Not even mountain bike, every bike, even on the cheapest mountain bike or bike, it's gonna be the same system. So step one, clean it. That's probably the most important step, because servicing means cleaning. And if you don't clean before servicing, like cleaning the internals, well, it's not worth it. You're gonna have a lot of dirt falling inside because of the outside that is not clean. So step two, get the middle axle out. Use your 6mm Allen key and just unscrew it. So now take your 8mm socket, put it inside. Take your 8mm Allen key, put it in this one, and then grab your Torx wrench, just unscrew it. Now it's broken loose. Now we can manually just unscrew that bolt in there. Here it comes, a little part. So now that we've removed it, just remove the middle axle and put it somewhere aside. These two little things, you can throw them in the garbage, because in the rebuild kit there are some new one. Third step, you gotta remove the side bolts to completely disassemble the pedal. So now take your T25 Torx wrench and put it inside and just unscrew this whole thing. Alright. First one is done. The little bolt. So now you can just disassemble it, just like this. So now the fourth step will be to remove the bearing, the bushing, the O-rings, and the end caps. So here I've got my bearing, and as you can see, it's quite stuck. So I'm gonna use the tool given to us by the rebuild kit, this one. And I'm gonna gently tap with the hammer. The bearing is out. Now let's remove the end caps and the O-rings. Like this. Here we go, the first end cap. Next, the O-ring. Here we go, this end cap right here. This one is quite tough. Okay, yeah, here we go. And now we're gonna remove the bushing in there. So take your tool, like this, place it like this, and just tap it with the hammer. Whoops. Alright, here it is. So now the fifth step is to actually clean everything. Clean the interior parts, except for those that you're gonna throw in the garbage. But the middle axle, the spring, those two divided pedal parts, you're gonna have to clean all of them. Just give it a nice clean. Next, let's do the spring. There might be a lot of dirt stuck in there, so you can use your picks to actually get that dirt out of there. Inside. So now the sixth step is to put everything back together, but with the new parts inside. So here I've got the new parts, and we're gonna start with the bushing. So now we're gonna start with the bushing. Just place it like this. Get some taps with the hammer. Now it should go straight in. So now you gotta take a 9 or a 10 millimeter socket, place it like this, and tap on top. Yeah, well, it's quite tough doing it without putting it on the table, because this table isn't stable. Alright, now I can hear that it's in. It's completely seated inside. Perfect. So now we're gonna put the bearing in the other half of the pedal. Just like this, slide it inside. So now we're gonna take the O-ring, and we'll place them inside right here. Like this. Now let's put the other one. So now, next step would be to put the end caps. As you can see, there's one that is bigger and another one that is smaller. So the big one goes in the one with the bushing, and the smaller one goes in the one with the bearing. So here's the bushing. I'm putting the big end cap, and yeah, I can tell you that it's quite tough to put it and to get it out, but it's doable. I think I'm gonna take the hammer. Alright. Okay, now it's well seated inside. Let's take the one with the bearing and put the small end cap in there. This one is quite easy. So yeah, it just pops right in. So now let's assemble everything. Okay, let's start with the spring, and let's put the big end. As you can see, there's a big end and a small end. Let's put the big end where is the bushing, and the small end where is the bearing. Just like this. Now let's take these bolts and screw them in. So these are the old bolts in the rebuild kit. They don't give us some new ones, so I'm gonna put a little bit of new thread lock on the end right here. Putting a little bit of thread lock on the end right here, that's enough. So I've just threaded one bolt in there, so now let's take the other one, put some thread lock on the end, like this. And now let's thread it inside. So now that I've screwed both of the bolts inside, now let's put the middle axle. Before doing anything, we gotta put these little rings. So this is the first ring. As you can see, this one is with the little holes in there. So you put it this way, so that the little base or the little hole in there is pointing the outside of the pedal. You gotta take your blue one and put it the opposite way, so that the curve now points the outside and the hole points the inside. So then you're gonna take your Sram butter and put some on the axle. I use the Sram butter because, you know, it's actually grease that you can use everywhere, on fork, on the shock, on seals, on actually everything. Taking a little bit of the Sram butter. So now we're gonna have to put it inside, and we're gonna put it through the bushing first, and then it's gonna come out by the bearing. Put it where's the bushing, slide it in, and here's the bearing. Now take your pick and just push the bearing inside, because sometimes it tends to come out as the middle axle goes in. Then you take your little screw and you hand tight it as much as you can. Now take your 8mm socket and just screw it hand tight. So now place your socket right here. Take your Torx wrench, place it on the socket. Take your 8mm Allen key, put it in this hole, and now just screw this in. Alright, hand tight. No need to be crazy on this one. Just as soon as it starts blocking, just stop screwing in. So take your 6mm Allen key, and yeah, by the way, there's already some thread locks, some new thread lock, so I'm not gonna add some. This one also goes in hand tight. No need to go too crazy on this one. It's spinning really nice. Just push those little rings, because they often tend to just come out. Just push them inside. Now it's well seated. So now it's time for putting in the optional threads to have a little more grip on the trails. You're gonna have to remove these with some pliers. Those are the only 2 pliers I have. I know this one is quite old. It's all rusty and all. This one is yeah, it's not the best actually. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try, and we're gonna see what we end up with. Okay, now I'm removing the first one. Alright, now it's removed. Okay, so actually that's quite smart. So you actually screw it in with a 2mm Allen key. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was with some pliers, but it's actually really smart. So now let's put this one inside and just thread this one in. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I thought it would be a lot more difficult, but the more it's used, the more it's gonna be difficult. That's quite logic, because like with my last pedals, with my old pedals, there's just less than 1mm that sticks out of the pedal. So if you want to unscrew it, well, that's gonna be a tough job. So yeah, it's gonna take a lot of time to do this on every single little bolt, because there's actually a total of 32 bolts on both pedals. So by the time you're doing this, you can just relax, chill, relax, and watch a movie, or even watch one of my videos, which is way better than a movie. So yeah guys, I'm gonna come back to you once I've finished doing all of this job. So here you go, that's how you service your Crankbrothers Mallet DH pedals. That was quite easy, probably a little bit long with the cleaning process, but overall it's really fast. It's probably gonna take for both pedals probably an hour or so. So now the final step is to put them back on the bike, and as I saw here, as you can see, like right here, it's saying 34 Newton meters. Yeah, some people tend to go to like 54 Newton meters. I'm gonna stick with the 34 that is written on here. I really don't want to over tight it, and you actually don't want to over tight anything on the bike, because if you do, it probably can crack something, in the worst case your frame. So yeah, just be careful with those little marks. Now it's 34 Newton meters. So yeah, as I showed you previously, we unscrewed the drive side pedal clockwise. So now let's screw it in anti-clockwise, and the non-drive side we're gonna screw it clockwise. So the best will be to screw it in on the floor, but I'm gonna do that later because I still have to install the protection for the cranks, which is gonna be in another video. So thank you guys for staying till the end. So today you learned how to service your Crankbrothers Mallet DH pedals. So see you guys in the next video with the service of the Sram dub bottom bracket, the Sram X01 cranks, and the chain cleaning. So yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.